This episode of Making a Chef is brought to you by Broadcast Media Group is a full-service production company with a team of storytellers who create commercials, promos, web-based videos, and more. For more information about Broadcast Media Group, go to www.getbmg.com or call 662-324-2489. Video Magic 1 transfers home videos, tapes, and photos into DVD, CD, or digital files. For more information, go to www.videomagic1.com or call 662-320-9344.
Today I'm in the kitchen with TJ Kepner, probably the leading authority in chocolate croissants here in Starkville. Miss TJ, thanks for being here today. So can you tell me a little bit how you got started making chocolate croissants?
Sure. So I came to Starkville about 4.5 years ago. I started with Troy Dorigo. He loves sourdough, which is how I make my croissants. He taught me the whole process and I fell in love with it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you say your croissants are sourdough.
These ones are, yeah.
So you use a starter?
I do.
Is that what this is?
This is Genevieve, my starter, yes. Because she's very healthy and all those great bubbles are super cool.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is yeast.
It is now yeast.
It is now yeast. So it started off as flour and water?
Flour and water.
And so you just let it grow?
Yeah, so there's yeast in the air that will actually get in there and activate it.
That is very cool. I've always wanted to start a starter before, but I've never really had the courage to.
It is intimidating to some people, and people think that they're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
But they actually will not.
That's so cool. So, what's the first step in making these croissants?
First step is making the dough, which this is the ready dough that I've made earlier today.
Okay.
Really, it's simple. There's flour. It's a bread flour, so it's a strong flour.
Yeah, a lot of protein.
That's right. I use, of course, the starter, a little bit of sugar, water, milk, and that's pretty much it.
So it's very, very simple.
It is.
See, I always thought croissants was just like this super complex, you know, the dough, but it's really just the process.
It's the process.
Intimidating part.
That's right. It's 3 days.
Yeah, okay.
Or at least that's how I do it.
I tried to make mine, it took 3 hours one time.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, there's quick ways to do it, but you get a better result when you do the whole thing.
I mean, your croissants are amazing. Probably my favorite. And before we go any further, how do you say the French word?
It's a pain au chocolat.
I'm gonna call it chocolate croissants.
That's good, that's good. Before we get to the dough, we have to pound this butter out and form it to this sheet here. It's loud, and it takes some muscle. This is European butter, 83%, and if you can get higher in fat, that's good. The higher the fat, the better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on this thing. I'll flour the surface just a little teeny bit, and I'm just really gonna start pounding it.
Okay.
Do you want me to give it a few whacks first so I can show you?
Yes.
So at the end when I pound it, I'm gonna give it just a little twist so it doesn't stick to the butter.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, I'll try it. So just boom and then twist at the end?
Just a little twist, yeah. Yeah, you get it. And then we're gonna turn it and kind of go the other way, but you can always put a little bit of flour on that as well. All right. Now we're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna make it into a square and just get it a little bit more pounded out.
So how many pounds of butter do you think you've pounded in your whole life?
Oh boy, I have built up some muscles from it, let's say that. I'm not a very angry person, but it lets out some tension as well.
So why do we need to pound out the butter?
We need it to be malleable, so when we're putting it inside of the dough, we can roll it and laminate the dough.
That makes sense.
And at this point, you don't have to go so hard.
Okay.
It's good.
You like that size?
I think it's good. So I'm just gonna make it into more of a square, really. Now, we gotta start thinking about moving quick because we do not want the heat to melt anything.
Folding is not my strong suit either.
Would you like me to do that?
Please.
Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be a square.
Yeah.
So I do the corners first. I'll let you finish and just make it even. Super great.
All right.
That's good. Let's put it in the fridge. Okay, we're gonna laminate the dough.
This is the tough part.
This is fun. Take flour. Try to go minimal
Okay.
on that. Now this dough has been chilling overnight.
So this is the second day of the process.
This is the second day, that's
Okay.
right. And there's that bubbly goodness.
I can smell the sourdough off.
Ah, I love it. For this, I like to use this pin. Give it a little flick. Boom, boom, boom. So I'll start just by, and we want to be nice to it. We don't want to overwork the dough because then it'll become tough. I'll let you work it just a little bit more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this in the middle and folding it, so just a little bit more out. And we'll go one, and then pull that one over and meet that. Perfect. So we'll tuck it in more.
Tuck it in.
Would you like me to show you how to start this little guy?
Please, I don't want to mess it up.
That's all good. A little bit more flour. This is the first step to laminating the dough.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Laminating is having the alternating layers of butter and dough.
That's
correct?
right,
Okay.
that's right. So we want the butter to get as even as possible in the middle of this dough. So I'm gonna start just by kind of slowly pushing it out. And then I'm gonna go to town.
Okay.
Get the ends flat. So this is gonna take 3 turns
3 turns.
to
Okay.
laminate for croissants. So I'm gonna fold it this way. Bring this to meet it.
Okay.
Get that flour off of there. Give it a little roll out. Just a little bit though. And fold it this way. So we're gonna put this in the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna do it 2 more times.
Sounds good.
All right.
So we just got done doing the 3rd fold and it's rested, so it's time to form.
Yes, time to
ready for
shape the
this.
dough. There's different ways to shape croissants, obviously. We're gonna do the way I think you're used to seeing me do.
Okay.
You can hear those bubbles.
Yeah.
You can see
It's
the
a very
bubbles. That's a good
live
thing.
bread.
Yes, which makes me happy. So I'm gonna let you try this,
Okay.
but remember, if it starts to fight you, we have to give it a little rest
Okay.
because if we overwork it, it'll
Yeah,
be tough.
tough.
I think what we're gonna do is maybe get it a little more than 1/2 inch
Okay.
so we can let it rest for a second. Now, if you have to let it rest, if it's fighting you, sometimes you might want to put it in the fridge because we do not want the butter to melt.
Yeah.
Even right before you put it in the oven, it has to be chilled.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna keep working this dough until we get it to where we want it, and we'll get ready to shape it. Let's go to about here. You can see as you're rolling it pull back. Like
Yeah.
you think you get it to the right point, and then it shrinks.
I've seen that.
That's the dough fighting us. So for this type of croissant, we're gonna go a little bit wider this way.
Do you mind if I do that? Make it wider?
Oh gosh, not at all. You go for it.
I'll relieve you.
Yes, please. So one thing, when you're rolling, if you see it bunching up like that, that just means you need a little more flour underneath
Okay.
so it doesn't get scrunched up. A little bit wider and we're good to go. All right, so we're ready to put the chocolate in and shape our croissants.
The best part.
Are you excited?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, good. So I take my little 5-wheel thingy. I go all the way down lightly just to mark it so I have it even. Boom. So it just made lines. This middle line is where I'm gonna cut it. These lines are where I'm gonna put the chocolate,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Pretty nifty.
So I'll just take a little handful.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do this row and you do the second row. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
That's all you.
So you think we'll get 18 to 20 or so of these?
I think we'll get about 18 to 20, you're right, yes. I have a good feeling that they're gonna puff up quite nicely.
So we have the chocolate laid out. Is it time to cut it now?
It is, so I will take my trusty little pizza cutter and I'm just gonna zip it down the middle. What we're gonna do is fold it over the chocolate, and then as we go down, I might not do it all at once. I'll just do this little section.
Okay.
And then fold it again. So fold and fold
Okay.
Fold and fold. You want to finish?
Fold, then fold.
Mm-hmm.
Do fold, then fold.
That's right. I like to even it up, so if I see any spots that are thinner, I'll kind of give it a little fix there and bring it out just a little more. Now I'm gonna straighten it out. What I'm gonna do at this point is I'm gonna roll it over so that underneath flap is on the bottom. So when it bakes, it doesn't come up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hide the seam.
That's right. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, after we get it in a straight line, is go back to my trusty 5-wheel thingy, I call it. Look at it and figure out how big I want them. That looks about good, right?
That does look good.
And then I tighten it so it doesn't lose its place. Mark your spot, and then we'll take the bench knife and cut. Looks good. And I'll just do this one. So right at that mark. Try to do it as quick as you can because you don't want the dough to stick to itself. You want it to stay exposed and open.
These are finished?
Looks great, looks perfect.
Okay.
So after you put them on the sheet pan, we're gonna cover them with, I usually use cling wrap, plastic wrap, and I will put them in the refrigerator overnight, take them out the next morning, give them an egg wash and bake.
Sounds good. So we're ready to put these in the fridge, let them rest overnight, and then we're gonna egg wash them tomorrow.
Yes. All right, third day. We pulled them out of the refrigerator and we're going to egg wash them.
Okay.
I personally like to do it twice. And this is just egg yolks with a tiny bit of water. The other thing I like to do when I'm doing this part is to make sure I get underneath here. Because otherwise when it puffs up, you'll see that line.
Yeah.
Which I personally don't like. But again, it's all about what you like. And you, my friend, can do the rest.
I will gladly.
All right. So after we do this, we will put them in a very hot oven. I like to start mine, I guess it depends on your oven, about 350, 400. Now the butter in these croissants do have some water, which will create steam when they're baking, and that's what's gonna puff. Now after you're done with that, we will put it in the refrigerator for just a few minutes and then do the same thing again.
Okay.
Okay.
Back in the fridge?
That's right. So we're doing the second coat to make that shine. And then we're gonna put these in the oven.
Can't wait.
I can't either. Okay, so we're ready to go in the oven. I wanna really make sure that you guys know the butter, it has to be cold. If it's melted at all, it will not make the croissant the way it should be.
Yeah, so these are nice and cold. They just came out of the fridge, just brushed them down. So 350-degree oven.
Let's do 350. Let's do 7 minutes.
So Ms. TJ, this is an array of beautiful, beautiful croissants.
Thanks.
And chocolate croissants. So can you walk me through what is what?
Yes. This one here is the one that we made together here on the show, which is the chocolate croissant, AKA pain au chocolat.
That thing, yep.
This one is as well. I just wanted to show how you can do different shapes. If we move down here, this is where I kind of like to experiment and express, I guess, my creativity with flavor. So I put candied orange peel and chocolate into this one.
That does sound delicious.
Yeah. And then this one here is a morning bun. Morning bun is like a cinnamon roll, but made with croissant dough.
Ooh.
So I took that dough and I put toasted coconut in the middle, and then I made salted caramel.
You're speaking my language now, so.
So we can cut into all of them.
I'm dying to.
All right, let's pick this one here. What does that look like?
That's beautiful.
So you can see the layers. You see all those layers? That's a good thing right there. And that chocolate in the middle, it's kind of perfect.
It is perfect.
And on the outside, you can also see with that 2 egg wash.
It's very shiny.
That's right. Would you like to try some?
I would love to try some.
What do you think? I'll try some too.
You can taste just a hint of chocolate. It's not too much chocolate, it's not overwhelming. I love the layers. You bite through, it's pillowy, it's soft. And I can taste the butter, which is, one of the most important parts. You want to taste everything. It's a very good croissant.
It's so good.
It's very good.
One thing I want to express too is that this chocolate is a dark chocolate.
I feel like it's perfect for baked goods like this.
Yeah, I agree. You want to go to the next one?
I'd love to.
Okay, let's go with this guy here.
That's beautiful.
And you can hear that crisp outside.
Ooh,
Look at that one. That's a good one, right? I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can totally see, especially on this one, just the layers. The butter, it puffed up. It started a lot smaller, am I correct? So the steam escape puffed up.
That's right.
Gave it that beautiful airiness in it.
That's good, yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it. All right, so we can move on to our chocolate orange if you want.
Yeah, it's crispy. I can hear it.
I love that sound. All right.
That's beautiful.
There we go.
Is that the orange right there?
That's the orange.
Okay.
You want to give this a try?
I'd love to.
Okay. Maybe we'll just cut a layer here for you.
That's really what you want to hear when you're making croissants, correct?
Definitely, definitely. Got the orange? All right.
That orange comes through on the back end. You know, you get that chocolate up front, you get that beautiful crispiness, you get the pillowy dough, you get the smoothness of the butter, and just that orange is just rounded it out. And it's not too rich, not too overpowering.
Great.
You need to. That is amazing.
Good one?
That's amazing.
Oh, it makes me happy. You want to do the morning bun?
I'd love to.
You pick one.
Get all this pressure on me. Ooh, I can already just hear the crispiness by picking it up.
Let's see what it looks like. The moment of truth here. Oh yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah, all those layers, all those layers.
So there's coconut in the layers.
In the layers?
In the layers, yeah.
Wow. I'm about to steal a bite of that.
Okay. It's good? Okay, good.
The coconut, really, it's like the orange of this one. It brings different texture.
Good.
The salted caramel is very delicious, very saucy, very sweet, but you definitely need something to, you know, not overpower all your taste buds, and the coconut really does that, and it does an amazing job of that.
Good, I'm glad you like it.
Miss TJ, thank you so much. I had so much fun. You know, it's a lot easier when you break down the steps and really think about it. You were a great teacher. You showed me, you know, from the starter, the sourdough starter, all the way how to laminate the dough the right way. And I learned so much, and I can't wait to try this by myself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now it's my turn. As many of y'all know, baking is not exactly my strong suit, but a broken clock is right twice a day, and it's that time of day. So I'm gonna show you how to make king cake. It is extremely simple in my book. So it all starts off with a cup of milk. Now, I microwave this milk for 30, 45 seconds just so it's warm, pretty much how I do it. I add 2 tablespoons of yeast. This is a very yeasty recipe, which is what I like a whole lot about it, and half a cup of sugar. So I'm gonna let these sit for 5 to 10 minutes until the yeast is bubbly on top. Now it's time to brown the butter. So I have 1 stick of butter. Put that on medium-high heat for 3 to 4 minutes till it starts smelling nutty, it's bubbly on top, and is brown. Our butter is browning, our yeast is blooming. Now it's time to separate 5 eggs. So we got 5 of the chicken ones. Putting the yolks inside the mixer and the whites in this little bowl. When this happens, I just go in with my hands, clean hands of course, separate like that, and boom, it's actually easier. 5 eggs, the butter is browning, it's just about done, so I'm gonna show you how I like to introduce hot butter with cold eggs and cold yeast and not kill either of them. So the way I do this, to not kill the yeast and not cook the egg yolks, is I turn on the mixer, medium high, and I slowly drizzle in this butter. Keyword is slowly. So I'm gonna add a teaspoon each of vanilla and lemon juice. We have a teaspoon of nutmeg that I'm gonna grate and a teaspoon of salt. Always put salt in your dessert. I know I say this a lot, but I'm gonna stress it again. It just enhances all the flavors. So I'm gonna mix this up for a second. Okay. It is now time to add the flour. 2 cups or so. It's probably a little more than 2 cups. That should be enough to get us going. Turn it on medium, low speed, definitely on this one. You want flour going everywhere. There we go, now we can crank it to speed. Okay, so I have half a stick of butter, and I'm adding this in. I just use 2 forms of butter. I think it gives it a flavor difference. It might not. The half a stick of butter is all mixed in. I'm gonna add a little more flour. Add probably another 2 cups of flour, so you can always add more flour. Okay, all the flour is mixed in, it's starting to form a ball. So I'm gonna mix this on medium for about 5 minutes or until a even ball comes together that's pulling away from the sides. This dough is looking good. It pulls away from the side, it's formed one coherent ball. It has a nice stretchiness to it. And the taste, always taste your dough. That's good dough. I'm gonna let it rise on the counter, covered with plastic wrap, about an hour until it has a nice puffiness and is doubled in size or so. Now it's time to make the cream cheese filling, which is a very, very simple recipe. Starts off with 1.5 sticks of cream cheese, a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of powdered sugar, small pinch of salt. Softened cream cheese is the key. We'll beat this on low till it's all one homogeneous mixture. It's time to put this in the fridge while the dough is rising. It's been an hour, our dough is risen, our cream cheese is cooled, and now it's time to roll it out. So, throw our dough on the counter, which is very pillowy, by the way. A little bit of flour, and then we're just gonna work it, get all the air out, just so we have a little more stable product that won't, just collapse on the counter. And now it's time to stretch it out. So I just alternate going both ways, try to stretch it out as long as I can. Now you don't want this super thick, otherwise it won't cook as well. You want it fairly thin, because we're gonna roll this up like we do cinnamon rolls. King cake is a very soft dough because it has a whole lot of fat in it. It has all that egg and butter, so it's nice, pillowy, soft, and it is quite delicious. King cake is one of the traditional cakes for Mardi Gras, which is a very, very important holiday down here in the South. Top 3 most important holidays is Easter and Christmas. Those 2 are interchangeable. Tier 2 is probably Mardi Gras because it's a big old party all day for like a week. 3rd tier is the start of college football because, it's religious down here. This is rolled out to the size I like. Now I'm gonna put my cream cheese filling in it. There's really no scientific way to get this cream cheese onto this beautiful piece of dough, and there's no way to spread it out. I just go freehand, really. You can use an offset spatula. I just use a regular old rubber spatula and just go ham on it. You might be thinking, Art, where's the baby at? Babies are kind of expensive, like $1.25 for one that small. So I didn't bring one up here today. Of course, if you don't want to put a baby, you can always put a pecan half. I've done that before and it works fine and tastes good. Pecans are delicious. So it's up to you. I'm just rolling this up like a cinnamon roll. If you ever made cinnamon rolls before, start off at this end, slowly move my way down until it gets momentum and just boom, boom, boom. Time to pan this sucker up. So what I like to do, I like to fold in the edges on itself so it looks kind of like a worm. You know how the worms have a little pointy head and all that? Tell your kids you're making a big worm if you want them to help you out. Then I just drop it on the pan. This dough does like to stick to aluminum foil and parchment paper and pretty much every known substance on earth, so just keep that in mind. I like to form an oval shape just because that's what I'm accustomed to. You can get a circle, you can get a square, you can get a triangle if you're into that, but an oval / circle is classic. As you can see here, one part's a little fat, one part's a little skinny. So I get my hands, I kind of squeeze the cream cheese mixture down to the skinny side. And you made a king cake. I'm gonna let this rest for another hour so it'll poof up, get a little airy on the inside, and so when we bake it, it's gonna be delicious. King cake is out of the oven. It's a little more brown than what I wanted, but life is full of imperfections. That's what makes us human. Inspirational quote for the day. I'm gonna whip up a little bit of icing. All it is a teaspoon of vanilla, about 4 cups or so of powdered sugar, and about half a cup or so of water, just enough to where it becomes a icing. So you can adjust the water content as much as you like. So what I like to do is I just like to pour on a little bit of icing over top, all the areas, try to hit it, and come back with my spoon, spread it out. There we go. Okay, we're done icing. Now it's time to put the sprinkles on. So we had the classic 3 colors of Mardi Gras: green, purple, and yellow. So we're gonna continue the green, purple, yellow, all the way around the cake. I'm using sanding sugar here. It spreads out easier It's much smaller and more refined. I'm not a professional baker or a professional decorator, but that's Mark the Chef's interpretation on king cake. As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. In my eye, this is a beautiful king cake. Look at that. You can see the cream cheese, you can see the cake, you can see the layers. Slide a piece on there. We have our piece of king cake. You have a fork, now it's time to try it. The cream cheese really comes through, really cuts through all that rich cake. It's a very yeasty cake, which is what I like a lot about this king cake. You can really taste the yeast, you really taste it up front. It is delicious king cake, if I do say so myself. And it is a ton of fun to make it. I had a whole lot of fun, just pushing myself in the kitchen, whether it's with the king cake or those crazy croissants. But it's always good to push yourself and try to get better as a chef. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you next time.